actually can do two different types of TOC samples. We can do TOC in water. We can also do sediment samples, looking at TOC in sediments. Before we start and turn this machine on to do the water samples, we need to check several parameters. We can open up the machine by just a little latch right here, and we need to make sure that this humidifier level is full to the high mark with TOC free water. A vial of water, we're going to mark the date it's open, so today's May 18. We can take our TOC water, in this case we have to pour it into a little beaker. We're just going to gently open the cap to this humidifier chamber. We're going to just fill it up to the high mark. TOC free water in the humidifier chamber should be at the high mark. You can see the high mark right here. It should never get below the low mark. Generally I like to keep it up between this clip and the high mark to make sure we have plenty of TOC free water. Make sure that the cap's on there nice and tight. The second container we need to fill is the dehumidifier container. It's very hard to get to. It's very hard to put back if you take it out. It's very important not to take the tubing off or to unclip it. It's actually in a very awkward spot to get out. You can gently pry the black lid off. And then you can take your DI squirt bottle, very carefully work it in there, and just squirt it with DI water until the water rises to the level of the sidearm. Just careful to put the cap back on. On the side of the analyzer itself we have a bottle that's marked dilution. This water bottle should be filled only with TOC free water. It doesn't use a lot for every analysis, but it's good to keep it up to about the 2-liter mark with every analysis by putting in TOC free water, dilution water. This water will actually dilute samples if the samples have too high of a concentration of TOC. So it's important that that is TOC free water to ensure that we're not adding TOC to the samples. Another water bottle that you may or may not need is a water bottle marked HCl. If your samples are not already acidified, you'll need to make sure that this water bottle is fairly full with HCl. Right now I've got about 200 mils in it. My samples are already acidified, so I will not be using much of this HCl. Okay, the other bottle we need to rinse is the DI rinse bottle. The DI rinse bottle can be just filled with DI water. For every analysis, it should be filled about to the 2,000 milliliter mark. It's important to make sure that this tubing does go down to the very bottom of that bottle and it has not pulled up. This dilution water actually will dilute out the needle between injections. The DI water actually goes up through this tubing here and ends up into the needle, which is up in the ASI machine up over here, which we'll see after a little bit. Analyzer has an on-off button down here at the bottom. You just press that on. I turn the oxygen on by turning the oxygen tank valve open. The oxygen tank should be set to about 60 psi to run the machine. Every time we use oxygen, we're actually going to log the pressure in the oxygen tank to make sure we don't run out. And we have a log here that we actually fill in the date we used it, the time we turn the O2 tank on, and the pressure at the start and the beginning. So it's important to fill that out so we can track how much oxygen we have. We need to have over 300 psi of oxygen to run a full tray. Our oxygen tank is turned on. We need to check a few more parameters in the TOC machine. Again, we're going to open up the latch on the door. We need to make sure that the pressure is set at 200 kilopascals in the machine, and if it's not, we can adjust it with this knob right here. The other thing we need to make sure that the carrier gas is actually set to 150 psi on the display right here. If it's not set to 150 psi, we can adjust it with the carrier gas volume. Those two need to be set to get the best analysis that we can get. Once those are all set, we're ready for the machine to warm up. You will notice on the display here, the keyboard, when the ready light comes on, the machine will be ready to use. And this takes about 20 or 30 minutes for it to warm up. Right now the furnace is on, and the furnace was trying to warm up to about 680 degrees Fahrenheit so we can do the TLC analysis.